Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be taking a look at quite a few new items. So I have the new Dolce Gabbana Ever Icon Eye Palette in Amber Venus. So I did already review the Chrome Star, which was this one here that is a bit cooler, but I love that one so much I had to pick up this one as well. So we're going to take a look at Amber Venus today. I also have the Make Mimetic Concealer. I have the new Jones Road lipsticks, which I have to tell you, these are really pretty amazing. And we also have the new YSL blush in Mischievous Magenta. So, in addition, I also want to share some handbags and wallets I purchased from Quince, just because I've had some questions asking me what the quality of those were like, because they are significantly less expensive than, some other items on the market. So I did purchase a few just to kind of get like a range and see how the quality is. So let's start off with that. We're just going to do that briefly, and then we're going to move into the makeup. So first of all, everything does come in a dust bag, and then the dust bag was also in a plastic bag, which was then in a box. So none of these items came in a delivery bag, just so you know. So I purchased two wallets and two purses, one that is going to be woven leather and one that's suede. So we can kind of see the difference. And I haven't used any of them out yet, but I was really curious. I actually purchased this one for my sister's birthday, and I ended up giving her something else, but I'm saving this. So I will give this to her on another occasion. But this is a zipped wallet. The leather here is actually really nice. So the leather is nice. You can see our stitching is even. Everything here works well, like the zipper's smooth and so forth. We still have all of the foam in here. Now, what really differentiates this, I would have to say that the lining material, this is like a vinyl fabric in here. The lining material doesn't feel the most luxe. And yeah, so other than that, I would have to say though, for the price, totally worth it. And it's a really nice functional wallet. I can definitely see this lasting for years. Now, this wallet I picked up for myself. This is in their taupe color, and this one here, you can see we've got the little button flap closure, and we've got smooth leather here. Again, it feels nice. This is leather in here, and then we've got that vinyl lining in here as well. Again, I just feel like the vinyl lining feels a little thin, and that's what makes it, not feel as luxe. You can just, it doesn't feel like a cushiony weighted fabric. But the leather, I'm actually pretty impressed with. So, everything here is, again, nice, soft, supple leather. The stitches are even on here. I'm impressed. At these price points, I'm pretty impressed. So just to show you, this is how this handbag came. And this one here is one of the woven leather ones. I just wanted something, not super expensive, but nice enough, for going out. It's an occasional purse. Again, this is in that taupe color. And this is our woven leather. Is it going to be as nice as a Bottega bag? No, it's not. But, that's not really my purpose here. I wanted something that didn't cost as much. And I have to say, I really like it. It is lined with smooth leather. And, everything here feels nice and sturdy. We have a very strong magnetic closure here. You can use you've got the actual strap here. You can see it doesn't use any metal, but you could actually kind of pull this out if you wanted to remove it, use it as a clutch. And we do have a pocket in here. So this meets all of my expectations. I think it is really nicely done, really nicely made. I think it's cute. And then suede. I love green. I love green suede. I love green bags. I have, my friend thinks I actually have too many green bags, and I only have I think 3, so it's not that many. But I wanted, a nice green suede bag. I didn't want to spend a ton because I wanted something that, again, I don't have to worry about with the maintenance, because suede can be a little bit harder to maintain and take care of. And I wanted something I didn't have to worry about that with. And this, I think it's like, $130 if I remember correctly. We don't have any feet here, but it is going to be a structured bottom. This is the basil color, which I actually bought and it's sold out like pretty much right away. And then they have a new green on there now that's a little bit deeper, called, I think it's Evergreen. And the suede here, it's, you know, it's doubled. So it feels nice and thick and luxe. We have a magnetic closure here. And it is, again, pretty strong. Inside the bag, we have a zipper pocket. You can see it's like a loose zipper here, but then we also have this pouch. And then other than that, it's just going to be kind of loose in here. We do have a structured bottom, and you can see it's sewn in there. It's not one of those like loose bottoms that kind of shifts. It is structured, and I think it's a really nice bag. This was exactly what I was looking for. I actually really want, they have a blue now too. I kind of want that one also. So anyway, I think this, overall, I'm very happy with my purchases for these. If you are interested in suede bags, I would definitely recommend using a suede protector, you know, just to help prevent any color transfer or anything like that. And as well as like water protection from like rain, you know, if you get caught in the rain or something. But I love suede bags. I've been using them for years. They're one of my personal favorite materials, and very happy with these. And again, that is not sponsored, but I did just want to kind of share, because I had some questions when I did do a sponsorship with Quince on their handbags, and I was really curious about the quality myself, whether or not it was going to be worth it. And, you know, if you're looking for an heirloom quality bag, you know, this is obviously not for you. You want to go with things like Loewe and Bottega and so forth. But if you're looking for something that you can use every day, that's going to, you know, kind of be on trend or in style, something that maybe doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money, something that you can use and not feel like you have to baby, I think this is kind of like the perfect answer. The wallets, I think, are great quality. They're going to hold up well. Again, the vinyl lining in there, I don't love that material personally. I feel like it doesn't feel as sturdy as I would like, but the leather feels great, so I don't have issues with that. The handbags, though, I'm really impressed with. You know, got some great options. And again, if you're looking for something for a special event, this is a great place to look. That's not going to break the bank. And again, the suede bag, I really love that one. So let's go ahead and move on to the makeup. Let's start off with the Make Concealer. So this is the Make Skin Mimeta Concealer, and this was gifted to me. So Make sent this over. I have shade number 1, which is Fair Neutral. And I love how we actually have kind of this window here so you can see how much product is left. And then this is the shade. It is a little bit more beige than I thought, but it actually works great for color correction, and it kind of blends out just so nicely. You can see that it really just kind of, you can sheer this out. You get a little bit of like a radiant sheen. And no glitter. The glitter is actually from one of the other products, but there's no glitter in this. It feels moisturizing, and it's just a really nice concealer. So I did want to share this. I think this is a really nice option. And let's take a look at the demo here. The Make Beauty Skin Mimeta Concealer is described as having radiant buildable coverage. I would say that is spot on with the description. It retails for $28 US. We have 7.5 grams of product. Again, this is going to have this nice little window where you can really see how much is left. And this is made in the USA. According to Make Beauty, it says this concealer provides buildable medium coverage with a radiant finish. Formulated with skin mimicking pigments, red algae and adenosine, it blends seamlessly into the skin to conceal and correct while hydrating. Ideal for spot coverage or layering over foundation. Can also be used as a highlighter or contour. And I think it's a really, really nice product. I'm very impressed with how nicely this can sheer out, yet still offer coverage. I'm like really impressed with how much it blends in with the skin. So I think this is a great concealer if you're looking for something that's slightly radiant, but just a little radiance, but still offers medium coverage. This is a really nice concealer. So again, here is our swatch for shade number 1, Fair Neutral. And again, I just think it's really nice. I mean, you can see, like, you could even see, like, in the demo when I kind of moved, sometimes you could see where the foundation was, sometimes you couldn't. And with me putting it on with the bright lights when I was doing my left eye, I actually had a hard time seeing the concealer. So I added more. I ended up needing to remove some because I had too much on there. But it was just like, I couldn't see it because it blended with the skin so well. So yeah, I think this is really cool. All right, and here is the Dolce & Gabbana Ever Icon palette, and this is our packaging. We've got the Dolce & Gabbana heart here, and inside, I went over details in the Chrome Star video. I'll leave that linked, but this big shade down here, which is really at the top, this is our crease shade for both day and night. So this is intended to be your crease shade. The middle shade is our topper for both day and night. And then these two shades are intended for daytime use. So this is our inner part of the lid, outer part of the lid. And these two are intended for nighttime. So we've got inner and outer. And that was kind of how it's designed. Obviously, you don't have to follow that. Let's take a look at swatches. All right, so as we're looking at swatches, we're going to move our way around the heart like this and then put the topper at the end. So we're going to start off with our crease shade here and just making sure this isn't wet. And here's our crease shade. You can see this is going to be a nice medium tone brown. There is a little bit of warmth in there. Next up, we have a satin shade. And this is going to be a light, it's like a light coppery shade here. So we've got a little bit of copper. There's a little bit, it's kind of like a peachy gold there. And then our matte shade for daytime, this is going to be a reddish brown. Think of a lighter version of a sepia brown, lighter redwood kind of shade. Then we have a deeper, this one's going to be cooler in tone, but you can see we still have some red in here. This is almost a mahogany. And then we have a deep brown shimmer. This is, again, going to be cooler in tone, but you can see we have a tiny bit of red and a tiny bit of gold kind of in the top coat, but the base on this is more of a cocoa brown. And then our center shade, this is like such a silky glitter. You don't feel the actual particles. It's so silky in texture. And you can see this is going to be more of a peachy glitter here. Tiny bit of gold in there, but it's essentially peachy. Dolce & Gabbana released 3 different eyeshadow palettes. I don't see anything that says that these are limited edition, and even sometimes they're limited edition eyeshadows, such as last year's holiday product. You know, they do restock and they come around again. So we actually still have that one available at several different websites. So this one here, you know, it's in and out of stock at different places. Right now, Macy's and Saks has it available. And it has restocked at Nordstrom. I'm not sure if that's in or out at the moment, but I'll have all the links down below in the description box. These palettes retail for $71 US, and I think they're worth it personally. These shadows are so nice. We have 6.5 grams of product. We have an 18-month shelf life. They're made in Italy. And the formulas on here are so silky. Now, I did get some fallout with these shades, particularly the more of the satin shimmer shades when I'm using a stiffer brush. So, you know, that's really more based on application. So when you are removing these though, that glitter, if you're using the top coat, that is such a silky glitter that it kind of adheres to everything. So just something to note that the shimmer in the top coat is definitely very adhesive. All 3 of these palettes are gorgeous. The third palette is kind of a rose color story. I've considered getting it because I love the formula on these so much. Between the 2 that I have, Chrome Star is still my favorite because it is a little cooler. Those shades just suit me a little bit better, but I love this one. It's such a great, you know, kind of a neutral brown palette. It does lean a little warm, but it's those nice, warm, earthy browns, and I really enjoy it. So according to Dolce & Gabbana, it says, elevate your eye makeup routine with the Ever Icon Eye Palette, the ultimate go-to for creating versatile looks that transition effortlessly from day to night. Each palette empowers you to tell your own color story and become your own icon. Designed as a perfect on-the-go companion, it features 6 long-lasting shades in a variety of stunning finishes, from matte and satin to soft metallic and sparkle. Endless combinations for every occasion and season. With a tested 10-hour wear and smudge-proof performance, the shadows provide superior grip and crease-proof results, ensuring a flawless look that lasts. And I would have to say, that's pretty accurate. These last all day. I don't have to wear a primer with them. If I don't want, they still stay crease-proof. They feel silky in texture going on, but they really stay put. So they adhere to the skin. They sort of kind of melt into it. So you don't have kind of that grippy texture like you might have with some eyeshadows. Feels smooth and silky, but it almost feels like it's bonding with your skin. So I'm personally a huge fan of these palettes, and I love both of the ones that I have. I think these are great. So just a few comparisons. Some of my favorite shadows right now, out of new palettes have been the Hourglass shadows. So I wanted to kind of compare these. Texturally, these are going to be different. Dolce & Gabbana have more of a silky texture to them. This palette here is Realist. You can see it's kind of got those peachy vibes. So if you are really drawn to this shade, that kind of, this Realist palette kind of goes with that shade there. And then we have Minimalist, which is one of my personal favorites, because this is just such a great palette of matte shades here, matte neutral shades. But you can see this is overall a little bit cooler in tone than the Dolce & Gabbana. And then we have Expressionist. So might as well just swatch this whole palette, but you can see we've got kind of a pink. This peachy shade is going to be similar to that in Dolce & Gabbana. And then we have a deep brown that is going to be cooler in tone. It's more of a black brown. And then we have this shade here, which is more of a satin form of this shade. It's going to be lighter though, but they have the same kind of tone. This Tweed Cuivre from Chanel came to mind when I was going through the Dolce & Gabbana. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch this one right here so you can see how these shades kind of compare. And you can see we do have similar tones in those palettes. So there are, of course, some differences, especially since these are all shimmery from Chanel here. But you can see we do have some similar tones. If this is one that you missed out on, I think the Dolce & Gabbana is a great alternative. Plus, you've got a little more variety. So I hope that was helpful. One more time, this is Amber Venus from Dolce & Gabbana. This here is going to be the Chanel Tweed Cuivre. We have 3 Hourglass palettes here. We have Realist, Minimalist, and Expressionist. I'm going to remove these extraneous swatches, the comparisons. Then we're going to just swatch Chrome Star next to Amber Venus. All right, so here's Amber Venus. Here's Chrome Star. You can see they are very different. According to Dolce & Gabbana, these are your neutral browns and these are grays. I would say these are really more cooler shades, but not necessarily grays. So let's go ahead and we're going to swatch this one here. And we start off with kind of this matte taupey shade here. We move on to a satin peachy ivory shade. And this is the most gray shade here. This is going to be a soft gray, but you can see where it kind of blends out. We have a little bit of brown, so it's almost a taupe. There is a rich black here. And this is going to be a nice cooler tone brown. And then our top coat here is going to be, again, kind of this peachy pink shade. So it's going to be a little bit different than that in the Amber Venus. We just re-swatched the Amber Venus one. I think I kind of erased that, but you can see the Amber Venus is going to be more of a peach, whereas we have more of a pink with peach in it for Chrome Star. So Amber Venus and Chrome Star from Dolce & Gabbana, fantastic formulas. Let's go ahead and move on to the YSL blush in Mischievous Magenta. All right, so here is the YSL Mischievous Magenta. This is shade number 3. And you can see it's a really beautiful kind of fuchsia magenta shade here. And let me put this one vertically. You can see what that looks like buffed out. You can see it's definitely this really pretty pink with a blue base to it. And let's take a look at this on the cheeks. Now in the demo here, you can see I'm going in as lightly as possible with this brush, on the right side, and then I built it up more on the left side, but I do need to go in with a very light hand for this shade. It is very pigmented. We have 6 grams of product. These are made in Italy. There's a 2-year shelf life. Currently in the US, the Mischievous Magenta shade is exclusive to Macy's, but hopefully we'll see this at other retailers in a month or two, which is what has kind of happened with their other new shades, the Hot Mauve and the Chili Crush. For today's application, I put this on with a very light hand using a fan brush because, again, it's a super pigmented shade. If you want to put this on, kind of as an underpainting method and then dab your foundation on top, it actually works really well that way as well. And that's what I do sometimes with the Chili Crush shade, the red shade. But I think this is a great pop of pink. Yet what I'm really happy to see is kind of those like bluer tones in there. Yet it's not too blue, and yet it's not that bright neon pink per se, that has a little bit more warmth to it. So I'm really happy with the tone of this, but I definitely have to go in with a light hand. So let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons. And I want to start off with the YSL Chili Crush, not because these shades go together, but just for the level of pigmentation. So this is Chili Crush, which is number 15. And this one here is 87. So I wanted to kind of compare that because that was my other brightest shade from YSL. You can see this is going to be a warmer pink, more of that carnation pink. Now looking at my other bright pink blushes, this one here is from Syrah. It's Ce Pomponnet. And you can see that this is going to be a warmer electric pink. We still have a blue tone base to it, but you can see this is going to be more of a brighter pink versus a magenta. This is Spark Cosmetics. So this is Camera Ready Cosmetics brand. This is a shade Aurora. And again, you can see that this is going to be more of that neon pink shade. We have the Basma cream blush in the shade Fuchsia, which will really lighten out. You can see this one has a little bit more of that magenta hue compared to the other ones we've looked at. But again, it's still going to be that bright pink shade. We have It Girl from Danessa Myricks. So this is in the Blurring Balms. Again, we have more of that pink, less of that magenta hue. And then we have the Neen blush in the shade Koi, which is going to be more of a berry hue. You can see there's more red in there. And then let's take a look at the Tom Ford. This is the Tom Ford in Black Orchid. And I'll just put this one up here. You can see, again, that's going to be a bit more berry, but they definitely have a similarity to it. So these two are actually fairly close. So if you're looking for a powder version of the Tom Ford, or even just a less expensive alternative, the Mischievous Magenta, I would say, is pretty close. And, with the Tom Ford, I often put that under my foundation. You can do the same thing with the YSL. So I hope that was helpful. Let's go ahead and move on to the Jones Road lipsticks. Jones Road was kind enough to send me 3 of their new lipsticks along with Bobbi Brown's new book. I'll leave those linked down below in the description box. And packaging here, you can see it is magnetic. We'll talk about the packaging in a moment, but the lipstick here, I'm so impressed with the formula here. So this is the shade Nudist. And you can see this is going to be it's a nice brownie shade here there's a tiny bit of rose in there, but it is going to be a brown hue. And then we have the shade Rosewood, which I love this one. This is one of my favorites. It's really a true rosewood here, It's like wood and rose mixed together. You can see that Nudist is a little bit warmer in tone. We definitely have a stronger rosy hue with rosewood. And then Ruby. This is what I have on my lips right now, obviously. And you can see this is a great red here. It's a neutral red. There is a little bit of blue in the undertone, so it leans a little cool, but it's still neutral. And these are the 3 that they sent me. Let's take a look at these on the lips. The Jones Road Classic lipsticks have 3.4 grams of product. They retail for $30 US. They're made in the USA. And I have to say, these are stunning. So you have kind of this smooth, silky vinyl texture, has a little bit of grip to it, so it stays in place. But I do want to note that particularly with the shade Ruby, I did notice some feathering around the edges. So I would recommend pairing these with a lip liner. And it's very easy to pair these with a Jones Road lip liner because you'll notice a lot of the names are the same. According to Jones Road, the classic lip is a lightweight, richly pigmented lipstick with a satin finish. It features peptides and vitamin E to smooth and condition your lips. Available in 12 shades from neutral to bold, it's the kind of classic that never goes out of style. They go on to say that conventional lipsticks can feel dry and dense. The classic lip offers a new take with a creamy formula that glides on effortlessly without creasing or feathering and a modern satin finish. It's lightweight, comfortable, and richly pigmented to flatter every lip. Now, as for the packaging, if you are familiar with their former lip products, their lip tints, it's the same type of material, just in more of a traditional lipstick bullet style instead of the slim style packaging. And this is going to have kind of this aluminum feeling to it with a plastic liner. For me, the big thing here is the formula. I really love the way these feel on the lips. They've got some great colors. As I mentioned, they coordinate with the lip pencils. I love the Jones Road lip pencils. They're more of a traditional lip pencil that, just kind of stays put, that drier pencil feeling. And I love how we've got shades that go together here. And yeah, I think I'm going to have to pick up some more of these because there's just such a great formula. Let's take a look at just a few comparisons. And really, we're not looking at shades here. We're looking more at formula comparisons. I do want to check out a couple shades. So shade-wise, I did want to look at this Cle de Peau. This is the holiday shade in Ruby that came out. And I wanted to compare them. So you can see that the Cle de Peau Ruby actually looks like it's a little bit more neutral here, but it's a little deceptive because there is like a little bit of kind of like an orangey hue to it when I have that on my lips. So actually the Ruby from Jones Road is cooler in tone on me than the Cle de Peau, but you can see the Cle de Peau is going to have some shimmer. I think, they're both nice red shades. And then formula wise, the Hung Van Gogh lipsticks. This is Hung Van Gogh Red. And this formula feels very much like the Jones Road formula. So if you watched my Hung Van Gogh video and you heard me rave about the lipsticks there, I love them. I love the lipstick formula. This is kind of a matte version of the Jones Road. Like the formulas feel very similar on the lips, but the Jones Road are satin, the Hung Van Gogh are matte. So, but they both have kind of that silky vinyl texture with a little bit of grip during application that is pretty unique. It actually feels a lot like something like the VLFR Lip Nectar or the YSL. These are the inks, but in a bullet form, like in a more solid form. So I'm just going to swatch these. This is a shade Batiste from VLFR. So if you've put this on, this feels like a lip vinyl. Obviously, this is a liquid on the lips versus something more solid, but they have kind of that same feeling when you smack your lips together. Same thing with the YSL. The YSL, I would say, is more similar to it. But of course, when these liquids dry, that vinyl texture kind of goes away. After a little bit, the texture of the Jones Road is longer lasting on the lips. So I hope that was helpful. One more time, we have the shade Nudist, Rosewood, and Ruby from Jones Road. This is the Cle de Peau Holiday Red in Ruby, Hung Van Gogh Red. This is Batiste in the Lip Nectar from VLFR. And this is going to be our YSL The Inks Vinyl Cream in shade 440. So I hope that was helpful. Let's do a quick summary of everything we talked about today. We started off with a quick share of some of my Quince purchases, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed with their wallets and handbags, particularly for the price. And I think they are really nicely done, great options for something that's not going to break the bank. Then we took a look at the Make Skin Mimetic Concealer, and again, it really kind of just blends in with the skin. I love it. The way the light hits it, it really makes it invisible on the skin. And so I think that's a really nice light to medium coverage concealer with a touch of radiance. Then we took a look at the Dolce & Gabbana Amber Venus palette, which I love. Their formulas are fantastic. These are some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes that have come out this year. Absolutely love them. Between the two that I've purchased, Chrome Star is still my number one just because those colors work better for me. Formula-wise, I'd say they're equivalent. They're both fantastic. I'm very, very happy with those. Then we moved on and we took a look at the YSL blush in number 3. This is the Mischievous Magenta, which I think is a really nice magenta blush, which, we see a lot of berries, we see a lot of bright pinks. This is a little different from that, but I do think it's a nice alternative to the Tom Ford Black Orchid Cream Blush. So just something to note there if you've been looking for that. And then we moved on to the Jones Road lipsticks, which, I love the texture of these. They've got some great shades here. That's how Bobbi Brown got started with her original makeup line, were her lipsticks. She knows what colors people want to wear every day, and she does it so well. So thank you so much to Jones Road and Make for gifting me some products here today, but I'm super happy with everything we featured here today. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support. I'll see you very soon, and thanks again for watching. Have a great day.